share with us.
This is K.O.P.A, the roar, the pride, brothers in boots, we stood side by side. We built the league, we built a name, we played for love, not fortune or fame. This is K.O.P.A, our hearts are song, the spirit leaves, it's never gone.
Yes, that's Goba. Welcome to another episode of This is Goba. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. Stel's here, Pierre's here. How you doing, boss? You good?
I'm good. You still? Hope you had a good Christmas.
Yeah, so it is what it is. It's Christmas.
Exactly.
Anyway, we've got a great guest, haven't we, Mike?
We have. Lovely to have Tony Loizi here. Another one of Goba legends who, as I've said on this pod before, from the golden era of Goba, going right from the beginning. Tony, welcome. Thank you for joining us. Merry Christmas. So, first question, Tony, nice and easy one. A couple of questions. How did you first get involved with Goba? Who did you play for? And what made it special for you?
Well, actually, I was playing for a team called Eton Manor in the Essex Senior League on a Saturday. And my dad, and I was playing for the Simon & Coates Stock Exchange side. And then my dad said, well, we've got this Goba League just starting up. Come down and join them. I said, I didn't fancy it. Honestly, I didn't fancy it. You know, I didn't know how good they're going to be. You know what I mean? You know, pandemonium. Anyway, and my ex, and he had a little calf up in Tollet Park, up in North London. Anyway, we done all right. I mean, it was not a bad side. We had some good little players there. And then we had, we had only one. I was only there for a year, but the one thing I remember, we played in a cup final. I'm not sure it was, forget who it was. But we played in this cup final, and the referee, a very famous referee in the Greek league, he gave a penalty, right? Anyway, it showed how mad Buspadus was, and the linesman at that moment in time gave it offside. Anyway, so the referee is going, no, I'm going to give a penalty. I said, but he's just given offside. Buspadus comes off, he took the whole side off the pitch, and we had to replay the cup final. We lost it, but it doesn't point.
No.
I mean, that's one character. I mean, he was unbelievable. He was. I mean, there's the sort of things I remember. The mad things, you know, the arguments. It was just brilliant, really. I mean. Yeah, I mean, like I say, AEK was my first team, and I always liked them. And they go, yeah, if you play for us, we can get into the AEK Greece side. And
They all said that.
Load of rubbish, honestly, load of rubbish. But I mean, like I said, because I'm still playing football Saturdays, good standard football. So it never really bothered me. It was the Sunday football was like it was just like an add-on because I like my football. But as time went on, it was my life, if you know what I mean. I made so many friends. We had so many things going on. And in them days, you must remember, it was the days when every club had the dinner and dance. Every club had a dinner and dance. You know, I used to get invited. Sometimes I might have 2 dinner and dances on a Sunday. You know what I mean? It was, and everyone would meet together. You know, how you keeping? You know what I mean? Yeah, we'll win the league next year and all this lot. You know what I mean? It was great fun. Honestly, it was the fact that it was such a community-based side, and that's what made Goba League. That's what made the Goba League. Forget about anything else. That's what made it. And in them days, the Goba League was run by people who had allegiances to teams in Cyprus. You know what I mean? Like Algi, Omonia, Salamina. Salamina were fanatical. They were absolutely fanatical. You know what I mean? They were like, when they used to come down to play you knew Salamina played you. It was rammed all the sides. And Omonia. Them two sides were unbelievable. But like I said, for me, the Goba League was a community-based league. You wouldn't get that in an English Sunday league. Never in a million years. You know, you used to get 2 men and a dog on the side on the English league. In the Greek league, it was every week. It was rammed. You know, it was that good.
So what happened? You said you were there for a year at AEK. Then where did you go? What was your journey?
I just won the league in the Goba. They won it. And I went down there. And I think that one of the centre half was Michailidis. He was like a centre half for Cyprus. I'm not sure if he played in the game against England when they lost 5-0 in the World Cup game or whatever it was. He played for him. He was a nice fella, you know what I mean? They were just good people. You know, obviously there was Goureas, there was a lot of other people involved, and I know at Omonia, I think they were probably the most organised of all the sides. Really, for football talent, I think they were most organised. You know, Mad Nick got a blend of English players, Greek players, you know what I mean? And it was just a really great blend.
So from AEK on, you went to Omonia, is that correct?
Omonia, I was about 2 years. I had a bit of a fallout with Mad Nick.
You weren't the only one though, Tone.
I knew Nick from years before, and I had a bit of a fallout. He was ruthless, you know that. Mad Nick was ruthless. He weren't. You talk to him, you think you're talking to some belot, but he weren't. He was like, his aim was to make Omonia successful. Forget mates and things like that. I mean, one of the last games I played for him was, I goes in there, they had a goalkeeper called Freddie Smart. He just brought him in. Really good goalkeeper. Excellent goalkeeper. And he goes to me, right, give Tony the goalkeeper's jersey. I thought, right, I'm playing. Great. Anyway, he named the team. I wasn't in it. He named the team. So I thought, I want to keep my cool. I ain't going to say nothing. And then I said, right, that's it. I'm leaving. I can't be treated like, tell me before the game, tell me after the game, right? But not when he's picking the side in front of all the teammates. I just said, no, I don't need all this. So, and then I left, and that's when I had a really successful stint with KLN. My dad played for KLN as well. He was one of the first goalkeepers. Wow. And his brother, Godshaw, before your time, he played for Anorthosis in Cyprus, for Cyprus, in Cyprus. So we was all mad about football, all of us.
So talking about that KLN, because my dad came over in the 50s and he played for KLN in a team that went and represented Cyprus at the World Youth Games in Russia.
My dad was on that.
So I've got a photo.
My dad was there. I remember spending 6 or 7 weeks at home on my own with my mum, and I thought, "Where's Dad gone?" I didn't know where he went.
So it's before my time, but I believe the photo I've got, Tony, is the oldest photo of KLN and of a Cypriot team, and it's of the lineup. So your old man must be in that photo.
My dad played in that. He played on that.
I'll try and dig it up, and I'll get it up for Stel to show later. So when you were at Omonia, Tony, were you in the 77-78 team that won the double?
I think so. I think I'm just in it.
So that would have been the team with people like Andy Gokinoz, Tony Georgiou, Barry Banayodu.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I think that must have been Omonia's first league title, and also obviously the cup as well.
I played in that team, definitely, but I'm getting confused in the dates. So I think it was the right. I think it sounds like right. Yeah, it sounds right.
Did you play with George Costa as well or not, Omonia? Or was he after you?
Costa.
George Costa. He's like one of the legends. You would have known if you did, I think.
Probably no. Like I say, give me a picture and I'll probably recognise him. But no, because when I packed in playing in North London, I went to South London, and they were going to me. Cosmos was no. I went with Aki Leas only for a few games. Nicky Milo was the manager.
Oh, Nicky Milo was great, wasn't he?
Yeah, Nicky Milo. I played with him, and he was my coach. He was my coach at Enfield Town. You know what I mean?
When I used to train with Cosmos, because I'm from South London, Nicky Milo was the coach. He was at Millwall, wasn't he?
Yeah, I was there.
Really, really good. You know, God rest his soul. Really top coach. Amazing. A really good guy.
He was such a nice. He was such a nice guy. He was. You talk to him. You know what I mean? He was in the Igon side. And what I was talking about, Nicky Milo and me playing in Igon when they won the league, and he was in that side as well. But he was a good player. You know, he knew what he was talking about. I learned a lot of him though. Even though he weren't a goalkeeping coach, I learned a lot of him though. You know what I mean? So it was. Listen, if I come up to an experienced player, I'd listen to him. You know, I'd go out and I'd listen. I'd take that advice and things like that. I mean, he was them sort of people. You don't get them people anymore. You won't get them people anymore. So, like I say, it was a time when I can remember it like it was yesterday. It was like, you know, the banter, meeting up, and you used to get like, I don't know. I just felt they were warm. They were warm people. You know what I mean? That's how I looked at it. It was good. And like Omonia, topside. They were topside. I had my cousin playing just around about that time. My cousin was in that side as well. Andrew, and he stayed on. He's good mates. He's good mates with Panny and all them lot. He's still good mates with them. When I left there, I saw him now and then. But me and Panny, we go back a long way. When we played at Omonia, because we used to be before I played for the Greek League. We played in 5-a-sides all around North London, in school grounds, everything, and he was part of that as well. And Mario Christolidis, all them players, because that's when I was playing in those days. We had Laurie Cunningham playing with us. Laurie Cunningham played for us, and he was. Well, that's another story. You heard of Laurie Cunningham, did you?
Yeah. Of course I have. Yeah.
Yeah, he was one of my best mates.
Yeah. Okay.
And then after I went to KLN, Jimmy Cattle was the manager. Jimmy Cattle was, I'd say, he was more Greek than Greek. He knew how to talk to a Greek person. You know, he used to get some mad Greek shouting on the sideline, and they're going to calm them down, and in the end, they all calmed down. But Jimmy Cattle, because he played for KLN in the 60s.
Mm.
But he carried on. He was a very successful manager. You know, we won league titles, cup titles, everything. When we won the league for KLM, it was a weird thing because they split the league in two. And the winners of the league played in the final to win the league championship.
Right, wow.
and we beat Omonia.
Wow. Amazing.
You know what I mean?
Amazing.
No, I don't know if that ever came up. It was a split league. I think they were trying to rearrange the whole league, and then they done that, and then they set up the different order of divisions after that. I mean, that's how I look at it anyway. But it was, it was a good time. Icon, Omonia, KLN, and then I got married. And then I got married, and
You change everything.
it weren't nothing like that. It was KLN. We had a guy called Alexandru. I don't know if he was anything, but he was a really good player, and he playing the wing. You couldn't beat him. It was unbelievable. It was like Tony Giorgio, but less mouth, more mouth. It was literally more mouth. And we played in a cup final against Omonia, and I had all these Omonia people coming up behind me. We'd give you a tenner, we'd give you 20 quid, throw the game, and things like that. Anyway,
Oh, they're match fixing, huh?
in the end, we lost the game, but we had a great cup final. It was like I enjoyed it. It was the crowds that made it. It was like, you know, on the side, you know, and even when you lost the game, we done well. Mind you, if you've done badly, they'll let you know you've done badly. You know, it was a good time. The league itself, I think you had characters in it. You had characters in that league. Do you remember Animus?
Yeah.
The guy who run that, he had the nightclub down in Charlotte Street in London called Animus. And he was a bit of a good side. They had a good side. And he was part of the Magic Circle. I remember he used to go down and he used to do all these magic tricks in the club. But he was good. I think someone said he was on the board of K.O.P.A. Someone said he's something to do with K.O.P.A. So, but he was very rich, but what I'm trying to get to is people like the people at Animos, Salamina, all these clubs. They were run by people who had money. I don't mean it like they were like paying you or giving you bums. It was these people that actually kept the league going. It was these people, you know, it was unbelievable. You know, they get you your kits, anything you wanted. If you was injured, you know, they take you out on trips, everything. You know what I mean? You won't get that now. You know, it was a time when you felt safe. You knew there was someone there to support you. You know what I mean? All the clubs always had a rich benefactor.
Was it Louis Cipriano? Animal guy. Was it Louis Cipriano?
Yes.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Louis. And he had two twin sons that played for Animals, and he had another son, but the two twin sons played. And they were right, good players, but not nothing. But they had some good players in that team. Like I said, I wouldn't remember them now. It was so long ago. I mean, but as my career went on, you know, I was one of these players that just, if someone come and asked me if I was unhappy with a side, I wanted something better, or a mate of mine went to another, I just left. It was I weren't as loyal as you might think I am, but I mean, KLN was my first love. Though I loved them. They were great. I mean, Jimmy Cattle.
Oh, you got that photo?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You got it.
Get the photo up in a minute.
Yeah, my dad was in that side. Okay.
There we go.
That's my old man with the flower and the goalkeeper's jersey.
Oh,
That's
wow. So my dad is where are we? He is 1, 2, 3, 4. The fifth person from the left.
From the left, right? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5.
George Pieri.
I'll probably let's have a look. Let's have a look. I'll probably. My God. They were gone for a long time, you know that?
They were. So that photo there, it's a photo that my dad gave me. That photo, that I think they played the Russian Air Force. So they went there and played the Russian Air Force, Russian Army in another game, and he couldn't remember who they were.
Did they lose?
They were very hospitable. They were great hosts. And the night before this game, they had a massive meal for all the players. And he goes, they kept like giving them vodka. He goes, and some of them didn't drink. And the next day they found it quite tough to play. But
that was the plan. That was the plan, Mike. Sabotage.
Yeah, 1957. My dad says that.
That's
My
right.
dad's still with us.
I was about 2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah.
I remember that because I remember sleeping with my mum. I said, "When's Dad coming back? When's Dad coming back?" And, you know what I mean? They were gone for ages.
Yeah. Well, so my dad tells me. But yeah, that as far as I'm aware, that's the oldest photo of KLN, and also oldest photo of a Cypriot team that was based in London. But a lot of those players ended up going to play in Cyprus.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, I don't know how old your dad was then.
So my dad then would have been, he was born in 36, he was 20 years old.
He could have gone to Cyprus, yeah. Because my dad, mind you, my dad would have been about 21.
Yeah. My dad ended up going to play for Al-Qi in Cyprus.
Where's that?
Al-Qi, played for Al-Qi.
They were a big side. They were a big side. In their day.
Back then,
I think I'm
Comeback.
not sure Al-Qi exists now in Cyprus.
They made the comeback. They made a comeback a few months ago, beginning of the season. So
does Al-Qi exist in?
Yeah, they made a comeback. They folded and they've come back.
Yeah, they were when I was growing up. We used to have like a couple of players play for Al-Qi. They were all at Al-Qi. I mean, but they played for Cyprus as well. You know, they played for. Yeah, we had a lot of, and we had a lot of, and I was listening to Les the other day about this 3 foreigners rules. And we was playing for Cosmos. Anyway, so it goes out on the pitch. Right? It goes out on the pitch, and there's about 5 black players playing. I don't be racist now, just have 5 black. I says, "How's that transpire?" Lis Sodiri, the one who played for Al-Qi, and I go on. He says, "Well, they're Greek." I said, "Bollock." Sorry. I says, "Bull." I says, "How are they Greek?" He says, "Oh, their grandmother's Greek." Really? Well, you know what I mean? That's what used to happen. They got past. It was all corruption. They got past this. They got past these 3 foreigners rules by saying, "Oh, their grandmother or their auntie was Greek," and no one queried the bloody thing. No one queried it. And if they did, they said, "Look, here she is. Look."
We're
not going to get no police people to investigate, are they? You know what I mean? And when they used to have the ID cards of the players, used to have these ID cards. You remember them, don't you? So we used to go there, stand up in a line. We need a ringer. So we look through the car. He looks like him. And right, and they'd come along. They'd come along and they go, and you shake quick like that. You know what I mean? And you had all these ringers playing. I'll tell you. But that was the fun bit of it though. And they all done it. Everyone done it. But it was but the cards was the funniest one. But
Tony, before I pass you over to Stel, tell us about your time in South London, football in South London.
Oh, Cosmos. Yeah. That's when I first met, what's his name now? I forget. I'll get dementia. Gregory, remember Gregory?
Yep.
Right. That's when I first come across him. Well, I had a story about him before. I met him actually when I was playing for the who was I playing for? Omonia. I was playing for Omonia against Omonia in Cyprus. Anyway, so we met up with we just lost to Omonia, and we met up with Gregory in a bar. So we met him up in the bar, and we were all having a drink. Anyway, one of the players who was an Omonia, he played for Omonia, a young black boy, and he got caught nicking money, harmless stuff. I said, well, why are you nicking the money? I said, I've run out of money and I've got to buy a present for my girlfriend. So we all looked at him. There was about 5 or 6 of us there. So we all said, I'll tell you what, we'll give you a £5 each, right? If you drink this bottle of brandy, 1 in, right? And,
Oh, God.
And he says, you think you can drink there? Anyway, he collapsed on the bed, flat out. So we better leave him there to sleep it off. So we all went back to the bar and we're all looking at each other. Says, what about if he dies? What about if something happens? We're really worried. Oh, we were getting really stressed out. So we went back to the hotel. He was gone. Anyway, the next day, Omonia organised a trip to the mountains for all the team. Who do you think the bloody first person was on the coach? It was him. He brought the whole of brandy. Cyprus brandy is a bit lighter than the French stuff, but I mean, that was, and we had a laugh at it. We couldn't stop laughing about that. But Gregory, like I says, I first met him football-wise, apart from the Cyprus one, in South London for Cosmos. He was such a good player. He can score, free kicks, everything. And I thought, why is he playing over here? He's still good enough to play in Cyprus. I don't know what happened. I think there was some sort of stuff went on in Cyprus. I said fine, but he was a good bloke. He was a good bloke. I think there was a lot of players playing for Cosmos, for the Greek League, that were good enough to play semi-pro. But I don't know what happened to him. He never went on. But he played for Cyprus. He was in that team against England, and they lost 5-0. You won't remember it though. You're too young.
Was that the Malcolm McDonald game where he scored all 5
goals? Lost 5 goals. He was in that game. And Goureas, and this Michailidis, and there was a few of them. But that was a good team. I mean, I enjoyed my time with Cosmos because purely in the fact that our clubhouse in South London, everyone knew each other. There were restaurateurs, they had fish and chip shops, and I was in the fish and chip shop game, so everyone met each other all the time. But there was a good club, and it was obviously a gambling club as well. You know what I mean? And then what happened? Oh yeah, and then as I got towards the end, I got injured, badly injured, and then I packed it up for years. And then I went and I think who was it? Nick Lee asked me to go back to Cosmos. I said, I'm over 40 years old, I said, you know what I mean? Anyway, I was badly injured still, and I ended up playing, and we got to the cup final against KLN. But it was one of the worst sides I played in, but they got to the cup final. And Nick Lee, to me, he was a great player. He was a great player. And how he never made it big, I do not know. I mean, I know he played semi-pro and that, but how he never made it as a big player, I don't know. He was awesome. He was
super fit, wasn't he, Nick?
He was talented, Mike. He was talented. You know what I mean? I think your face sometimes has got to fit. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of our players, I mean, all went to pro clubs. I mean, I was at Chelsea Youth. I started off at Arsenal. I went to Chelsea Youth, and then I went to Enfield. I thought blows. And my mate Laurie, he went on to the Orient. But players, I think they didn't want to put themselves out to push it to go to a higher team. They just said blow it. Like that Tony Georgia or Omonia. I heard Ferdy talking about it. He was a player, should have made it. He was that good. He was that good. Maybe he never had the personality. Maybe he never had the temperament. Maybe he never dug in enough. Maybe that was a great temperament. I don't know. But there's a lot of players, not many players that made it really.
Nick was player manager back then, wasn't he?
That's when he got me in. He got me in. And then I said, well, after I was well in my 40s, and I said, no, I've got to pack it in now. I can't play them. They wanted me to carry on. I said, oh, come on, I can't do it anymore. Anyway, and that's when I started the Cosmos Youth side. And I'll tell you a funny. I don't think they knew what a ball was. These players, all Greek players, they didn't know what a ball was. You know what I mean? We was getting beaten 9-0, 10-0. And I took my son, the goalkeeper, and he played for a side that just won the Surrey Cup. I took him out of there and put him in the Cosmos Youth side, about 14 years old. And I had my nephew, who was a good player. Anyway, one day we was training down Norbury Park, and this young black boy come up to me. He says, "Can I play?" I said, "Well, how old are you?" He gave me his age, and I said to him, "Oh, you might be a year or so too young, but you can play if you want to." Anyway, he was scoring goals. He was doing triple somersaults down the pitch. It was amazing. Anyway, I says, "You got to be playing for a team." Because no, I don't play for no team. I said, "You got to be at an academy." He goes, "No academy." I said, "Where do you live?" I run over to his house, and I see his dad, but his dad was a foster dad. Apparently, his parents were killed in a political killing in Nigeria. He says, "We were fostering him," so I couldn't even take him under my wing as such. So I had to. He was under Lewisham Council protective order or whatever. I said, "Well, come play with us. We're a family side, and this is where we play, Norbury Park." It's fine. And we started playing, and my son had just fractured his arm, goalkeeper. And I put my nephew in, who's about 2 foot tall, right, in goal. So I says to him, he goes to my nephew Costa. He says, "Don't worry, Costa, I'll look after you." We were playing against Chipstead, right? Chipstead, like big club over in Surrey. And he said, "I'll look after you." Anyway, centre half, put him centre half. And he scores 5 goals. And we beat Chipstead 8-1 or 8-0 or something like that. Anyway, slowly but surely, he started getting interest from Man United, Spurs. They started being interested in him, and Crystal Palace. So I was sitting down to Crystal Palace. My sons went and my nephew went. Anyway, he goes to me, "Tone," I said, "I don't know what to do." He says, "Why?" He says, "They're asking me to sign on the youth package for Crystal Palace." So I've looked at him. I says, "I'll tell you what." I went and saw his coach. I says, "What do you reckon?" Because he played in a friendly game. He said he's all right. I said, "I'll tell you what. I'll take him from there to Spurs." You know, he said, no, he's all right. It's good. So he said, "I don't know what to do, Tony." I said, "Sign for Crystal Palace because you'll be in the first team within a year. I'll tell you now. Hand on God, hand on heart, you'll be in the first team." Anyway, the rest is history. It was Victor Moses.
Wow.
It was Victor Moses. I'd done an interview with Sky TV, actually, because they went back in Nigeria. They wanted to know where he started from. They didn't know where he started from because he came over and he had no record at all. I've still got his card, his ID card. And then
Tony, do you want to hear something incredible here?
Wow.
So one of my closest friends was the assistant coach to the Nigerian national team, and he coached Victor Moses. In fact, one of my good friends, Leon, played with Victor Moses for the Nigerian national team. Leon was at Brighton and Glasgow Rangers. He's now in Cyprus with Ari.
Yeah, he was.
I'll have a word.
Have a word. But the thing is, Victor actually lived in Kingswood over in Surrey. He was neighbours with my brother-in-law and my nephews as well. But when I first see him play, he was doing things like he could look after himself. He wasn't fighting like someone would try and kick him all the game. And he wouldn't say nothing. And they go up to pick him up. You're right, mate. And they step on their foot or do that in their face. This is from a 15, 16-year-old boy. I never taught him that. He must have learnt that from Nigeria because I never taught him none of that. And he was such a placid guy. He was great. Absolutely great. And the rest is history. Done well. Went to Chelsea, which I was proud of that he went to Chelsea because it was my team. And I think he kept in touch with my nephew. But he was. If I see him, we'll reconnect. But I don't know where he is now. I don't know if he's back in Surrey or if he's.
Leave it with me. Leave it with me.
But he was such a good player. But
that's a great story because throughout the history of Goba, we hear about players like Andy Clark, Les Ferdinand, who played in the Goba League. But this connection with another player via Goba, albeit the youth team, I'm not sure many people know about it. I'm not sure many people. Thanks for sharing. That's a beautiful story.
Right. He was. I mean, and the thing is, the Cypriot players, the little young Greek players we had with us, it got to a stage where it got a bit bad because it was pass it to Victor. The parents were coming to me and going, pass it to Victor, pass it to Victor. I said, can't do that. You got to let the players play. It was really embarrassing sometimes, you know what I mean? Anyway, just before the end of the season, he got signed for Crystal Palace. But the boys stepped up. The young Greek boys stepped up and they won a cup. They won the cup. I mean, what more can you say? You think they won the World Cup? The parents were going mad. It was great. You know what I mean? All these people, they've never been in a cup winning side or a team that's won a trophy. So you got all the big sides like the Omonias and things like that, but it was really for the youngsters to develop. You know what I mean? But with the big sides, still getting semi-pros from here, semi-pros from that. You know what I mean? In a way, if I was playing in that side, I'd think, great, I'm winning this cup, I'm winning this league. But if you're just an ordinary player, you want a bit of glory as well. But they never got it. They never got it because players wouldn't go to these sides, or semi-pros wouldn't go to these sides, or you had to pay the semi-pro player. You know what I mean? And there was a lot of that going on as well. There's a lot of. I mean, I never took any money off anyone. I'll tell you now. Apart from when I was playing Saturdays, I never took any money off anyone. Because the way I looked at it was, if you took money off people, especially in the Greek league, they owned you. They thought. That's how I looked at it. You know what I mean? And I had that with a lot of clubs. I know I'm sounding a bit like griping about certain people, but that's how the Greek league was. You know what I mean? And you had to have your wits about you. Don't let them sort of like, oh, I'll get you this, I'll send you there. No. I never done all that. I looked after myself. I stayed with the people I wanted to stay with. And if I fell out with anyone, I left. You know, it was simple as that. It was like you would do anywhere else. But I mean, I never stayed that side so long. 3 years max, as with KLN, 3, maybe 4. And then after that, I just left because I was playing Saturday football. But like I say, I had a good time. I think the best bit I liked was the first game I ever played against Omonia at Finsbury Park. They had that Astro pitch where they had the grass growing through this, whatever it was. You know, it was like one half of the pitch was muddy and the other half was perfect. But it was, on my life, there was the crowds on the sides were 3 or 4 deep. You know, it was packed. And I thought, yeah, I like this. I like this. I'll tell you who else managed one of the sides in the Greek League. Do you remember Willie Morgan?
Yeah.
He managed one of the sides. I forgot what side it was now. Honestly, I forget what side it was. I remember him. I remember watching him against K.O.P.A at Spurs. You know, it was a lot. You know, there was a lot of people that had names, but I've probably forgotten half of them anyway. Definitely have. But Willie Morgan, he managed in the Greek League. Like I say, I think that they missed the boat. The Greek League missed the boat because when you had that Louis and all these people with money, that's when they should have got together. Forget about village interests and club interests from Cyprus. Forget all that, right? What they should have done was get a committee, do one side, keep the Goba League going, and that one side will represent the Greek League, and it will progress. And then the players in the Goba League, they'd work to get into that side. But what they never done it. A lot of the managers or owners, they went their own way, or they pulled out because there was nothing in it for them. There was nothing in it for them in the end. Louis left. Omonia, I don't know. They're still going strong, but they weren't as strong as they were when they started. Igon. He was just a rich boy. He came over to England, put all his money. He put money into the club. As soon as he left, went back to Cyprus. I think he ran the national side at one time, didn't he? Andreas Michailidis. Yeah, he ran the national. Yeah, once he went back to Cyprus, Igon fell. They collapsed. You know, that's what it was. They missed the boat. They should have had all the club managers ever do one side, and they would have progressed. But I'm getting political now.
Well, Tony, you mentioned the political side of things earlier and how various people within these clubs supported the clubs in Cyprus. So you had Omonia people supporting Omonia, AEK, etc. Did that kind of make it a little bit more spicy?
Well, for people, absolutely. You saw it in the faces of the people watching. But the thing was, people like me, I'm born and bred in England. A lot of other guys they never had a Scooby-Doo what that was about. It was the Greek players. It was the crowds. They still had memories of their clubs inside. And I thought, why are they getting so excited? I didn't understand it. But people like me, born and bred here, we never had a clue. My team was Chelsea. My mate's team was Spurs or Arsenal. And that was it. That was spiciness. But over here, we weren't political in this country. When it comes to football, we never took it like that. But the Greeks, they never forgot it. The Cypriot crowd, they still remember their village side. I mean, I go to Cyprus. Do you know I'm in the village in Akna, right? I've got 2 sets of brothers. They go to the left wing club, and the other 2 go to the right wing club. And they don't talk to each other. How is that? How is that? And that's what it was like in the Goba League. You got people who were related, wouldn't speak to him because he was supporting him from back in the day. Salamina is strong now. Salamina becomes strong side. You know what I mean? I thought they had some good players. I don't know if you remember Serge played for Salamina.
I don't know. I've heard of him, yeah, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, but he was in the league side with me when the league side first started. But Salamina, they went they become strong. But even when they were going down, they weren't a big side. They still got the massive support. Anyway, a few years later on, I think they got into the Pro League. Didn't they win the
All England?
All England?
Yeah.
But the money behind that club from supporters, not from anyone else, from supporters. I mean, that's got to be saying something. I mean, if all the clubs were like that, Goba League, I think, would be in the Football League now.
Yeah. Well, Tony, you mentioned the financial side of things and how there were people with money backing clubs. What was in it for them? Because you're throwing money at a football club, as you mentioned, kits, etc. Is that it? Yeah. Is that it? Okay.
It's all bragging rights. You know what I mean? Because they like to say, "Yeah, we done you, mate. We done you." Then you had to go through it the next year after that, or if they won a league, they try to get nick players off other teams, saying, "Look, come with us. We're the league champions." You know,
right.
And it's all selfishness. Still, it was all selfishness. But I never took it like that. Like I said, I like the people I played with. If they got a bit too leery, I left. I didn't like all that. I mean, I just wanted mates. I just wanted friends. Go down, play football. I mean, the amount of times I went to play football, and we knew all the players from all the other clubs. Yeah, Tony, Stelway. You wouldn't have got that now. I mean, I thought they were really friendly, very hospitable. The players, that is, and even like members of committees of other clubs, when they see you, they come up to you and they say, "Right, Tony, how you keeping? You're going to sign for us next year. You're going to sign for us next year." That's what it was.
So, are you surprised the league lasted as long as it did?
Yes, purely on the fact the characters. I'm not talking about players. I'm talking about the owners. The characters that made it disappeared. Without them characters, the clubs went. They just folded. You know, there was nothing there. They were the backbone of the league. I think they were. Forget about Tony Giorgio or Ferdinand and all this lot. The backbone of the league was the owners. I mean, you take the manager of Akna then. I forgot his name. He had Holloway Sports. What's his name?
That name's been mentioned before. I forget it, but Holloway Sports has been mentioned about 3 times on this.
Not students as well. You know what I mean? Like I said, it was the owners. I think he went on to become chairman of Edmonton Haringey. That one. He became chairman of Edmonton Haringey, and but it was people like that kept the football going or the league going or whatever you like to say. It was like who really. I mean, I tell you, Greeks. One thing with Greeks. When I started the league, the youth side.
George, wasn't it? George. Can't remember. K something. Can't remember.
Gilliginas.
There you go.
George Gilliginas. I knew his dad. His dad was the one who, when people used to come over from Cyprus, he used to put them up in flats to get them settled in England. His old man was. Nice bloke. Anyway, like I said, when people like George disappeared, all these people, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. Everyone thinks it's the players, but it ain't. It was, for me, it was the owners. It was the owners putting themselves out. It's like when I started the youth side. My brother-in-law, Andy Fooley, he's the one he owned Rush. You know Rush Hairdressers? I don't know if you know Rush. Anyway, he goes, I'll supply you with the money. Again, with the money. So I said, right, I ended up with 4 sites, right? Anyway, once Andy got fed up with it, I'm not saying away, once he got fed up with it, players started dropping out. And and in the end, I had a heart attack. I weren't there to go and put the nets up. I weren't there to do that. I weren't there to go and put because I weren't there, the youth sides collapsed. The same thing with the Goba sides. When the primary guy who started the league or the club, once he left or he had an illness or whatever, the club folded. The club folded. And that's how the whole of the Goba League was. They needed people to back them up. It was like a comforter, if you know what I mean. Oh, don't worry. Well, you'll sort it out. We need kits. We need to pay £300 for a football pitch or whatever it was. They weren't going to dig in their own pockets. It was the chairman. Where were they getting the money from? They're taking it from their businesses. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You've got to give respect to the owners, the people who started it. It ain't just the players. Goba was... Who was the chairman of Omonia then? Oh, good. He was an art guy, but he was a good chairman. I forgot his name now.
Mike's memory bank is working overdrive now.
Omonia. He went with us to Cyprus as well. The whole committee went.
Tony, when you say you went to Cyprus, was it these ones? Because I got some photographs. Is it these ones here?
Yeah, that's me there, next to Mad Nick. See the guy next to me with the
Which one are you? Which one are you?
I'm in the maroon shirt.
Right, okay.
You see the guy next to me?
Yeah.
The one with the afro?
Yep.
He's the one who drank the bottle of brandy.
Okay. Bomba.
And I mean, that was a good place. That Tom Loizi, he was right at the end of that picture.
Okay.
He was reserved. He ended up playing for a goalkeeper from Omonia as well, but I'd left by then. But he run Edmonton Harrogate Football Club.
Okay.
I'm not sure if he's still there though. Yeah, but he was a good 11 years younger than me anyway. So, but they're all good friends. They're all good.
And what's this one? What's this one all about?
Oh, we was walking out and playing against Omonia. Yeah, that was Barry behind me. Forgot his name. Forgot his first one in front of me. I forgot his name there. But it was a good side though.
What was this about though? What was it? A friendly game against Omonia and K.O.P.A?
Yeah.
What do you remember about it?
All I know, I must have lost about 6 or 7 pounds in weight in that goal. I was sweating to death in that game. It was so hot. It was, and that was at night. And but what an atmosphere though. It was. I mean, Omonia. That's when they were really supported. They were. That was a great game. I think we lost.
I'll tell you why I asked this question, Tony, because I sent these photos. In fact, I sent this one and the next one to my friend who is a journalist at Omonia in Cyprus.
Yeah.
And he was blown away. And I said, look, I need to find out more, which is why I'm asking these questions. So you can tell us more about why it happened, what it was all about. Would you remember?
I think the committee had a real heavy connection with Omonia in Cyprus. I mean, really a heavy connection, right? And I suppose as years went by, they were talking about getting Omonia London playing Omonia Cyprus. Obviously, it was. They must have made money out of it, Omonia, you know what I mean? But it was more that a connection to keep connection with Cyprus. You know, get the clubs. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying to you. Like with the other clubs, they would go and play Algi. Algi go and play Algi. Yeah, and all that. I mean, it was trying to keep in contact with our Cypriot past. I mean, like an authorcy, I mean, I should have played with. I played with most of them before they went into the Greek league. We played in the Wood Green and Haringey League. I don't know if you remember it, Mike. I don't know if they're still going.
Oh, yeah, I know about it, but yeah, I don't remember it. Yeah.
Most of that unorthodox side played in that. And then I knew Mikko, who was a journalist. Mikko was a journalist for Barry Agi, I think. He was Gogo up front. I mean, there were some good players there. There were some good players. We always beat them because I played for. Well, I played for an half decent side, but when the Goba League started, I see a lot of all these players. I know you, but they were good boys. And out of all the sides, that side, most of them stayed together for years. They never left. They were loyal. They were nothing like me, but they were loyal.
Mm.
Up their sides, and I think the one thing I remember is the committee. I think they needed players to excite and bring other players in, but what they never done was include the youth. They did start a youth thing in the end, the Goba League, but I think it was too late because by that time the Goba League had basically gone, near enough gone. There was only a spattering of sides, and a lot of them players, they went into the Goba Youth League, and then I suppose they went off and done their own thing with other clubs, English clubs, things like that. But if you had that when we started properly, maybe because I had youngsters up in South London. They go, "What about the Greek League?" I don't think they exist anymore. You know what I mean? A lot of them, because a lot of them still got when people ask me, young players, what was the Goba League? And we go mad about the Goba League, but these lot ain't got a clue, and they still ain't got a clue because the football that's available for them now is non-existent. I think it is. You know what I mean? It's non-existent. With the Goba League, you used to be able to go in the Goba League, right? You play, you make friends with all the other teams. You get to know someone. They couldn't get a first team game in that side, but because you knew someone from another team, come down with us, join us. You know what I'm saying? Community. But after that, it was. Like I said, my boys enjoyed it. All my boys, they played in the Goba League and they loved it. Getting down there on a Sunday morning, winding each other up. I mean, that's it. That was it as far as I'm concerned. But as a community, I missed all the dinner and dances. I missed all the banter. I missed a lot of things. But I'm not going to go and talk about, he was a great player and he was a great. There was a lot of great players. They all were. And they're all characters. We had Australian Greeks playing. I mean, that was with the league side. And they were fabulous characters. We went, I don't know if you remember, when the league first started, we had Birmingham Greek team. I'm not sure if we had a Liverpool Greek team, but I know we had a Birmingham. We had to drive I used to hate going on there. We had to drive all the way to Birmingham. Anyway, we was on a convoy and we took the wrong route. But I don't know, 10, 12 cars doing a U-turn on the M1.
Oh, no.
But like I said, it was a great crack. I mean, see, there again, we never encouraged sides like that to stay in the Greek League. People will pull out, it's too far, I can't get a team, have the points, things like that. And that's what I don't know if they went on and played in the English league up there or whatever, but it was, for me, if I put it in a nutshell, it was a time of my life. I loved it. I mean, it was, we're not playing professional football, but we played against players that played pro or semi-pro, and it was like you're in a pro league every Sunday. Every Sunday, it was like you was in a pro league. And we had fallouts with a lot of players, like you do, but then we still carried on. There was no animosity to anyone, but no, it was a good time.
Beautiful. Tony, one last question from me before I pass you back over to Stel. And first of all, thanks for those memories. Thanks for your, for sharing with us. If you were to want to listen to someone come on the podcast, if there's someone that you think we should be interviewing, give us some names. Who do you think we should be tracking down, or if there's anyone that you know that we should be interviewing, give me some names.
Well, I like to hear Tony. I like to hear a lot of the Omonia players: Tony Giorgio, Banico, Mario Christolides. I mean, I knew him from young. You know what I'm saying to you? I knew him from when I was a young teenager, and KLN. A few of them have died. I'm not sure really. I tell you, Serge from the Salamina, I had a good time with. Obviously, Mad Nick's no longer with us, I take it. Yeah, right. I'm not sure if his son's still alive. He played for a while. All the main people passed away, Mike. You know what I mean? It's if you're asking me someone who was close to me, when I left the Gobas, I never met up with him for about 25 years. I did go for a reunion at the Edmonton Harringay ground, and I walked past them, I didn't even recognise who they were. They all got so old, you know what I mean? And if I walked past them in the road, I wouldn't recognise them. They probably wouldn't recognise me. I don't know. But Cosmos. Jack. I tell you, we remember a lot. There's a guy from Cosmos, Jack Cameno. He played for Dynamo as well. He played for Dynamo. I had such a laugh with him. He remembers everything. He remembers. Get in touch with him. He'd love it. You know what I mean? And tell him I sent my regards to him. But he was a player. I still see him now. If I see him in Cyprus or over here, obviously he's gone on. He's had his issues, like we all have. But he was a good player. He was a good player. He was a wind-up merchant, big time. But he'd remember most of the Cosmos players. He'd remember, and he was in it longer than I was, much longer. I mean, he'd probably say, "Oh, Tony, I remember him. He was a nutcase." You know what I mean? That's how I was, though. You know what I mean? But he was cool. He was a cool character. But he remembered everything.
Brilliant.
Yeah. And thank you very much, Mike. I enjoyed that. Get it off my chest. I got it off my chest. It's a lot of story. If you prompted me, if I had someone there and he prompted me, do you remember? I'll probably remember him, but because it was a last minute thing from my son, and I said, well, I'll have a go at it. But I remember it was more the fact that I did. It was all about money. It was all about money, not the money I got. I knew it was all about if the people who started the club stayed in the club or passed it on to a proper committee, the Goba League would have been going. But because once they left, it died a death, Mike. It died a death. Forget about players. If there's no one there looking after the club, they're going to shoot off and go somewhere else. That's what happened. So that was it, really.
I think that encapsulates football right now, doesn't it?
That's all it is.
Financial element,
Listen, if someone went to Chelsea, forgetting the new owner. Suddenly someone went to Chelsea and Abramovich is paying for everything, right? So Abramovich paying for everything. All of a sudden, he gets kicked out. And you had someone like, the one who owned Chelsea before, never put money into it. You think Chelsea would have been the way we were now? No way.
Ken Bates. You mean
Ken Bates? He never put no money in that club. You know what I mean? He never put no money in that club.
Did he buy it for £1?
He bought it for £1, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Bramwich come along, he thought Bates went, God, Christmas has come early. I mean, he went and bought that guy, Duffy, whatever his name, from Blackburn.
Damien Duff,
yeah.
£17 million, bang, like that, bush. That was before the regulations. And he went and bought it. I mean, £17 million, unbelievable. That's what I'm saying to you. You need a good club with a good committee who's got a good plan for the club. The Greek side.
That's what this podcast about, Tony, for us to hear from people from your generation and from the golden era of Goba about these people and what they gave to the community. And as you rightly said, if we didn't have these these chairmen and these committees to organise and put the money together, we would not be having these conversations. And
one thing,
celebrating that country.
And one thing I just got to say, all these chairmen from Omonia down to the lowest club, it was passion. They lived passion. My first club, Baspadas, encapsulated all that. It was one man on his own who owned a calf, and he loved that club. He would kill for that club. If anyone attacks any of his players, he will come on and he'll do whatever he's going to do. He was a nutcase. But he loved that club. It was passion. With him, it was passion. And so if I was to pick one small acorn, he would have been the acorn growing the oak. That's what should have happened, but it never. And that's the reason I went to the Goba League, because of all this. My God, it made you feel like a king, Mike. They made you feel like a king. For a Cypriot player, forget Les. Les is a nice guy, but he had all that anyway. But a Cypriot player who never had this, he felt, oh, it must be something special. They're looking after me. They're this, they're that. And you felt, like Les said, community. That's what they done. But you ain't got that now. I mean, you could be next to your next door neighbour now, Greek bloke, and he wants to speak to you. Not because he didn't like you, just couldn't be bothered. So that's it, really. Still,
well, Tony, it's been great talking to you, mate. Honestly, absolute pleasure having you on. Thank you for your time. And you know what? I think further down the line, we need to do what you suggested in terms of getting like a reunion. What do you reckon, Mike?
Yeah,
we could do like a live show. Get a live show. Hire a venue.
Well, the Goba League, the Goba, there is a podcast in it, like all these different messages from the players from Goba, coming with stupid messages, a lot of them, but they come in and there's people connecting and do you remember this, you remember that, you know what I mean? I never got involved with it because, like I said, I never bothered. But like
well, you're in it now. You're in it now.
Yeah, like I said, no, I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed the guys, and when I tell you that I was in as Lazarus, Larnaca, and I was walking with my wife, and I looked at this fella, and I went, go, played for Anorthosis. I ain't seen him for about 25 years. And he recognised me straight away, and he had his wife with him. And we started reconnecting, and this is what this programme's about. You know what I'm saying to you? I ain't seen him for 25 years. And I never played in the same side as him, played in the league side once. But we just met like that, and we started talking over, do you see so-and-so, do you see so-and-so? You know what I mean? You ain't got that anymore. Anyway, these podcasts, hope people look at it. I mean, I know I banter on it, but only because I can't remember most of the names. So, But
It's fine, mate. You've done a great job. You've done brilliant. Done absolutely brilliant.
Anyway, thank you very much, Still, Mike. Hope
Thank
we
you,
meet
Tony.
up again. Hope we meet up again. And
Absolutely.
all right, then, take care.
All right, boys and girls, we are done for another episode. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Tony, for your time. Have a happy new year, boys and girls. We'll be back in 2026. Adios.